Hello everyone, welcome to Kush Education. I am Anamika and in this video we are going to discuss about linear inequalities of class 11 mathematics. So before that we should know why we are talking about linear inequalities. So for example, I love flowers and I want to buy some flowers. For example, I want to buy 20 flowers. For example, I want to buy 20 flowers and for example that the price of one flower is X and the total money of that is total cost of all the flower, that is 20 flowers, will be what? That is 20x. And for example, which is equal to 300. For example, which is equal to 300. That is the price of 20 flowers is 300. But for example, I have only 150 rupees. That is, I only have 150 rupees. Thus, I don't have 300 rupees to buy 20 flowers. That is, the price of 20 flowers is greater than the price I have. That is the rupees I have. Since the price of 20 flowers is 300, but I have only 150 rupees, that is the price of 20 flowers is greater than 150, that is more than 150. So I will not be able to buy these flowers. That is, this inequalities is called linear inequalities. That is, 20x is greater than 150, that is the price of 20 flowers is greater than the price, that is the money I have. So this is called linear inequalities, that is inequalities. Again, for example, we have 4 signs, that is, for example, this is this sign, this sign, this sign and this sign. That is 2 real numbers or 2 algebraic expression related by the symbol less than, greater than, less than equal to or greater than equal to form an inequality. That is, for example, 2 is less than 5. We all know that 2 is less than 5. Again, 3 is greater than 1. We all know that 3 is greater than 1. Again, for example, if we write 1 is less than or equal to 1. Yes, why? Because this is less than or equal to 1. That is, 1 may be less than 1 or 1 may be equal to 1. Since 1 is equal to 1, so this satisfies the inequalities, that is 1 less than or equal to 1. Again, for example, if we write 3 less than or equal to 2. This is also true because 2 is less than 3. That is, 3 is greater than 2. Again, if we write 3 is greater than or equal to 3, that is, this is also true because why? Because 3 is equal to 3. Here it is equal symbol, so 3 is equal to 3. Thus, all these inequalities are called numerical inequalities. That is, here I have put the example, that is 3 is less than 5 and 5 is greater than 2. So these are the examples of numerical inequalities. That is, we have already written, that is 2 real numbers can be related by the symbol less than, greater than, less than equal to or greater than equal to form an inequality. Thus, these are the example of numerical inequalities. Again, what are retailer inequalities? That is, if we have variable, that is, here we have variable x and here we have variable y. Here what we have? X is less than 5. Since we have one variable here, what is the variable? Variable is x. Since x is less than 5, that is, this is an inequality, and this inequality is called literal inequalities. Why? Because it has only one variable. Got it? Again, what is double inequalities? That is, if we have we have taken the example, that is 3 less than or equal to x and x is less than 5. Here we have two inequalities, that is less than or equal and less than. But what we have here, that is only one inequality, that is less than. Since we have one inequality, this inequalities is called literal inequalities, and here we have two symbol, that is less than or equal to, and here less than. So here we have two inequality symbol. So these are called double inequalities. So this is an example of double inequalities. Got it? Again, what is linear equalities of one variable? So the inequalities having one variable is called linear inequalities of one variable. That is, if the inequalities have one variable. What is the variable here? We have taken the example x plus b less than 0. And what is the variable here? That is x. That is the variable, the inequalities which have one variable, that is one variable, are called linear inequalities. And here a should not be equal to 0. Because if a will be 0, then it would be b less than 0. So it will not have any variable. So for example, we have taken 2x plus 1 less than 0. For example, we have taken. So this is an example of linear inequalities. Why? We have one variable, that is x. Again, what is linear inequalities of two variables? That is, the inequalities involving two variables are called linear inequalities in two variables. That is, for example, I have taken ax plus by less than 0. Here, what are the variables? X and y. Since we have two variables, here we have two variables, so this type of inequalities are called what? Linear inequalities of two variables. That is, two variables are present here, that is two variables are involving in this inequality. So this is an example of linear inequalities of two variables. And if we take example, that is, for example, I have taken 2x plus 3y less than, for example, it would be less than 1. For example, I have taken. So this is an example of linear inequalities of two variables. Why? X is one variable, y is one variable. That is, here two variables are present. So this is an example of linear inequalities of two variables. So that's all for today. Thank you, students.